UFC 236 main event and co-main event predictions. You guys are going to want to stick around for that. Oh, and if you can, stick around to the end of the video. I got a list, or I made a list of this weekend's fights. There are a ton of fights this weekend, guys. Different start times, different networks, different streaming services on top of that. And that's quite a bit to keep track of. But your boy, Fight for Migs, I got you covered. What up, guys? Fight Fiend Mix here, coming at you with another video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're returning, well, thanks for returning. Welcome back. And if you're here for the first time, welcome to Fight Fiend Migs. That's me. This is my channel. As you heard in the intro, this is about the UFC 236 main event and co-main event predictions. On top of that, at the end of the video, I'll throw in a list of this weekend's fights, because this weekend is chock full of fights. If, of course, you're a fan of both MMA and boxing, which I am, and hopefully you are as well, which is the reason why you're here. That's the whole point of this channel, to have the union of both MMA and boxing fans. But yeah, if you're interested in both, by all means, you came to the right place. It is currently 8:08 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Friday the 13th. No, I'm kidding. It's not really Friday the 13th. It's Friday the 12th, actually, April 12th. And the ESPN Plus card just started, main evented by Vasiliy Lomachenko versus Anthony Crolla. And on the undercard, the light heavyweight debut of Gilberto El Zurdo Ramirez. He's moving up from 168 pounds to 175. Super middleweight to light heavyweight on that undercard. But you guys are here for the UFC 236 main event and co-main event predictions. Before I get to those, though, I do want to let you know what the odds are. I got these odds yesterday online from Bovada. Dustin Poirier is actually, if I'm saying his last name right, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, similar to this dude, Daniel Cormier. Cormier, that's a little bit easier. I don't know which R I'm supposed to pronounce in his last name, but Dustin the Diamond Poirier is the underdog at plus 175, and Max Blessed Holloway is the favorite at minus 225. On top of that, well, I guess I should say under that, it's the co-main event. Israel Adesanya, he's the favorite, of course, at minus 175, and Kelvin Gastelum is the underdog at plus 145. Now that we got that out of the way, on to the co-main event and main event for the UFC 236, my predictions of those fights. Now, one thing I wanted to touch on as far as prediction goes, when it comes to predictions on anything really, a football game, a basketball game, a fight, any entity versus another entity, just about anybody can get it right. It's basically a 50-50 shot of getting it right. So when I hear people say, oh, this guy's going to win or this guy's going to win, and they can be or they cannot be fight fans, and they have a 50-50 chance of getting it right. So anytime I hear someone make a prediction, I kind of try to put them on the spot, and I say, okay, tell me how. So it's not just who, but how. How is he going to win? So that's when you really find out what someone truly knows or doesn't know about whatever subject it is they're talking about. I can, say, oh yeah, Dallas is going to beat, I don't know, New York or whatever the fuck. And, it ends up happening. I'm like, all right, cool. I called it, I got it right. But again, it's a 50-50 shot. If someone were to tell me, well, how is it going to happen? What's the score going to be or something like that or close to it? Then I'm fucked, because I wouldn't have an idea, because I don't really follow football. So, when I hear people predict stuff, they do have a 50-50 shot, and I want to kind of like call them out and put them on spot, and I ask them how. And that's what I'm going to do here. So I don't want to just be like, oh, so-and-so is going to win, all right, and a video. No, I'm going to say so-and-so is going to win, and this is how it's going to happen, just so you guys know I'm not just blowing hot air here. Now that I got that disclosure out of the way, onto the predictions, UFC 236 main event and co-main event. I'm going to start with the co-main event for the UFC interim middleweight championship between Israel Adesanya and Kelvin Gastelum. I have a hard time pronouncing Adesanya for some reason. I'm saying it okay right now, but when it comes, I'm going to most likely mispronounce it. So I'm going to refer to him as just Israel, make it easier for myself. So anyway, I've had a lot of problems with this particular fight, a bit of a conflict, because I'm of Mexican descent, or Mexican American, a Chicano, whatever you want to call me, and so is Kelvin. So naturally, I'm going to want to support and cheer him on. That's just how I am. I'm going to want to support and stand behind Raza 100%. So that's what my heart is saying. My brain is saying Israel because he's the next big thing. He's the next hot shit. He's the next John Jones, Anderson Silva, whatever the fuck you want to call him. But he's on the incline, and my brain is telling me Israel. My heart is telling me Calvin. So um, 9 times out of 10, if you go with your brain, chances are you're going to be right because, of course, we know that we probably shouldn't make decisions based on feelings or emotions because, that can kind of trick us. We want to have a clear mind about it and make rational decisions. And granted, we're just talking about a fight here. It's nothing too important or life-changing. Or maybe it is if you put some fight on or some money on the fight. I don't know. But anyway, so we're just talking about a fight here, so it's no big deal. But I've had this conflict with this fight, and ultimately, I'm going to have to go with my brain on this one, and I'm going to say Israel Adesanya. I said it right that time, but anyway. I'm going to say it's going to be a decision, a unanimous decision. It's going to go the distance, the full 5 rounds. Israel's last fight, I'm sorry, the fight before that, I think a couple of fights ago, he fought Derek Brunson, and Brunson is a very, very good wrestler, and he was having a difficult time trying to take down Israel. If I recall correctly, he wasn't able to take him down at all, and ultimately he got TKO'd at the end of that first round. I don't think that Israel is going to be able to knock Kelvin out. Maybe down. He may be able to knock him down. He won't knock him out, though. I suspect it'll go the full 5 rounds for a few reasons. One, Kelvin is a tough guy. He can take a good shot. He's been able to take a shot at welterweight. He's taken a shot at middleweight. So he's got a good chin. He's got a good beard on him, as they say. And on top of that, his strengths are his wrestling, or his strength is his wrestling. And wrestlers have a very, very tough, strong mentality. Like, it's very difficult to break these guys. They, as Mike Goldberg would say, embrace the grind. They go in there and when they train, when they fight, they take this pride in pushing through discomfort. And that's pretty crucial, specifically in the fight game. So I don't think that Israel is going to be able to knock Kelvin out. However, he is going to hurt him. He is going to stun him a few times. He may even cut him, maybe like bust his lip or bust his nose. But he's not going to be able to take him out. I'm going to go with Israel Adesanya. He will be the new UFC interim middleweight champion by the end of the night. So yeah, I'm going to have to go with Israel on this one. And that brings us to our main event of the evening for the UFC Interim Lightweight Championship between Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway. Max Holloway being the current UFC featherweight champion, moving from featherweight to lightweight to challenge Dustin for the lightweight title, the interim lightweight title. He's going to try to go for that champ title that does seem to be the in thing these days in MMA. As a matter of fact, there's an example there behind me with Stipe and Daniel. As a matter of fact, even Bellator Fighting Championships doing the same thing with their featherweight and lightweight championships. And then before that, they did that with Rory McDonald, who is the current Bellator welterweight champion, moving up to middleweight to fight for the middleweight title against Gegard Mousasi. And then recently we saw TJ and Cejudo. So there's a few more examples scattered around there somewhere, but here's another one. The current UFC featherweight champion Holloway moving up to challenge Poirier for the interim lightweight title. So this is another one that I've had a conflict with. My instinct is telling me go with Dustin. My instinct and my heart, I should say, because I just kind of feel like it's Dustin's time. He's had a lot of ups and downs in his career, specifically, early on with coming pretty close to earning a featherweight title shot when he fought at featherweight, but it just was that one last fight that he needed to win. He just couldn't get it done. So, too many close but no cigars, and here he is now at lightweight with an opportunity right in front of him. So, my instinct and my heart is telling me to go with Dustin. However, my brain is telling me to go with the favorite, Max Holloway. This is a rematch of a bout they had back in 2012 where Dustin Poirier was able to come away with a victory with, I believe it was a mounted triangle armbar in the middle of the first round. That was Max Holloway's UFC debut. I believe he was only 20 years old. He only had like 4 or 5 fights at the time, so Dustin's experience really won the day back then. Well, a lot has changed in 7 years. Now they're both at a heavier weight division, even though it's Max's first fight there in the UFC. But Max has a belt. Max was able to get to that featherweight title before Dustin, and even though Dustin's been in the UFC a lot longer, so a lot has changed. If you think about it, even in your own life, think about how different your life was 7 years ago, and then you kind of use that as an example and take a look at both these fighters. They've come a long, long way, specifically Max, of course. So yeah, my heart and my instinct was saying Dustin. My brain was saying Max. I was taking a look at their recent fights. Dustin was able to take out his last 3 opponents before the final bell. He was able to finish them one way or another, and it didn't go the distance. Max as well. I believe it was his last 4 opponents. He's been able to take out his last 4 opponents. Neither of those fights, went the distance. So between the two, combined 7 fights that haven't gone the distance, and they're not fighting chumps here. They're fighting guys like Pettis, like Gaethje, those, and like I think Aldo, as a matter of fact. It's just former champions, guys who are known to take an ass whooping, and they've been able to take them out. So that's kind of a big deal. That is leading me to believe that this fight will not go the distance either. Who is going to win is up for debate, and I'll get to that in a second here. But I don't think this fight is going to go the distance, the full 5 rounds. Someone's getting finished. So, drum roll, please. Yes, I'm going to have to go with my brain again and common sense. I guess the odds, the fight odds. I'm going to go with Max Holloway on this one. How? I'm going to say he's going to be able to finish. As I said, he's going to be able to finish Dustin. It's probably going to be late in the fight. I'm going to say 4th round. It's going to be a TKO. He's not going to submit him or anything. He's going to TKO him. He's going to bust up his face the way he did Ortega. He's going to bust his nose. Going to bust his lip. Dustin is going to be very, very tough. I don't think it's going to be Dustin giving up per se. It's just going to be the referee having to step in there and stop the fight. I've kind of thought about this one for quite a bit, and I flip-flop back and forth a few times. And like I said, I really feel for Dustin, and a part of me really wants him to win. But again, rational thinking, comes into play. Max is the favorite, and I feel he's come a long way from his debut, and I think he's advanced more than Dustin. And up until this point in their career, I'm going to say that Max is going to take it. One of the reasons I was thinking that Dustin would probably take it was because of that first victory that he's in Max's head. It was a submission loss. Max actually had never. Max has lost since then, but they've been decisions. They haven't been submissions lost. Dustin is the only one who's been able to finish him. Again, it was early on in Max's career, but I think that was in Max's head. In the back of his mind, he's thinking, this guy finished me before. So that's why I was thinking that maybe Dustin had a little bit of the edge, of the mental edge. Of course, mentality plays a humongous role in fights, more than physically, to be honest. So, considering all of that, I want to say Max has advanced the most since then. And that's why I think he's going to be able to get the victory. And as I mentioned, how already it's going to be by a 4th round. I'm going to say 4th round TKO. That's my final prediction. Max Holloway, he's going to be another one of these champs. He's going to get that interim lightweight title. How is going to play out when Khabib returns in July? I think it's July. Who knows? Of course, that remains to be seen. I'm sure I'm going to make a video about that as well. But for now, I'm going to say Max Holloway is going to win. He's going to be a champ. UFC featherweight title and the interim lightweight championship. Those were the predictions, and as I promised at the end of the video, the schedule for this weekend's fights, because there are a ton of fights, and I actually had to write them down and pull them up on my laptop because I have a shit ton of tabs open with each one of these fights and their start times. So starting with the fight we were just talking about, or the event UFC 236, that's tomorrow night, the 13th, of course. That is going to be on pay-per-view. So you can order through your cable or satellite provider. You can also order the pay-per-view on ESPN.com, and you can order it on the ESPN Plus app. So the early prelims are going to start at 3:15 Pacific Standard Time. You can watch those on the UFC Fight Pass if you have access to the Fight Pass. The regular prelims at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on either ESPN or ESPN Deportes. And lastly, the main card starts at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Of course, that's on pay-per-view. And as a matter of fact, tonight is Friday. For those of you, your hardcore MMA fans out there, Combate Americas is on tonight. I'm going to DVR it. I have Dish, and I'm going to DVR it later tonight. I'm not sure what channel it is, to be honest. I didn't do my research on that one specifically, but I'm sure you can find it online if you want to watch some fights and you don't have anything else to do on a Friday night like myself. I can tune in to catch me some Combate Americas, which is some more MMA action. Okay, so the UFC is tomorrow, as I said. As far as the boxing goes, this video took a little bit longer to record. So right now, as we speak, the Lomachenko and Crolla fight is going on. So, I mean, there's no point in giving you the information as far as that goes. But if you want to still catch it, if you happen to have the ESPN Plus app, it's there. You can catch the replay anytime. So, quite frankly, the time doesn't matter too much. Okay, so as far as tomorrow goes, besides what I just mentioned with the UFC, onto the boxing, we have Jaime Munguia against Dennis Hogan. Jaime Munguia is a guy you might want to keep your eye on. He's a Golden Boy fighter, 154-pound junior middleweight. I believe he's a WBO champion, and he's undefeated, young Mexican cat, dope guy. That dude can really hit. He's a little sloppy right now because he's young and he's green, but he's already got himself a title, and he's a tough guy. He's going to be fighting on DAZN. I don't know how you guys feel about DAZN. I'm not crazy about it, to be honest. Like, the commentating is kind of and some of those shows on there are pretty shitty. But anyway, I have DAZN if you want to, you know, it's worth it, to be honest, because you can watch Bellator on there and you can watch boxing. So that's a win-win for me, to be honest. So 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when his fight starts on DAZN. Let me go ahead and pull up my laptop here because there's a shit ton of fights. Besides the ones I've already mentioned, we got tomorrow night as well, Caleb Truax, I think is how you pronounce it, Truax. He's fighting Peter Quillin. Peter Quillin is a former middleweight title holder. I want to say WBO. I'm not too sure. Maybe WBA. And he's moving up to the super middleweight division. I'm not sure if it's a permanent move or not, but that's going to be on tomorrow. That is on Fox Sports. I think it's on regular Fox. I'm not too sure, but definitely whatever channel Fox Sports is. I don't know if it's FS1 per se, but it's Fox Sports. And that starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, so I guess that's 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Then on Showtime, for those of you who have Showtime, however, either through Hulu or your provider, satellite or cable provider, we have Clarissa Shields. She's fighting Christina Hammer. Now, this is I believe, a middleweight unification bout in the women's divisions. This is actually like the two most popular women in that weight class. This is a tough one. I mean, I'm not going to do predictions on any of these because it's going to make the video even longer. But it is going to be tomorrow, and it is going to be at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Showtime. And then, let's see here. I want to say, yeah, okay, cool. That's everything. That's everything as far as this weekend goes. So we got the UFC tonight, or I'm sorry, tomorrow. Well, tonight, I should say, we have Lomachenko Crolla, which is going on right now. There's some Combates Americas later on tonight. And then tomorrow we have the UFC card. We have Caleb Truax against Peter Quillin on Fox, and then or Fox Sports. We have Clarissa Shields and Christina Hammer on Showtime, and we have Jaime Munguia and Dennis Hogan on DAZN. So that's a lot of stuff, a lot of channels, a lot of everything, shit. So anyway, in case you guys didn't want to stick around to the end, I am also going to list this stuff in the description if you want to take a look at that. So, not to make this video any longer, my apologies, guys. I certainly didn't feel like making it as long as it was. That's pretty much it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you can get notifications anytime I release a video. Thank you so much once more, guys. I'm very appreciative, and for those of you who are watching, thanks for coming back. Hopefully next time you guys come back as well, and I've made this video not too long and worth your while. So that's pretty much it. Have yourselves a good night or a good evening or a good day, whatever time you happen to be watching this at home. Peace.